Hello, everyone. My name is Jake Kaufman, and welcome to episode 26 of Way Outside. It has been a while since I've done this yet again, and there's a lot to discuss on multiple different leagues. Quickly, I'm going to take an apology for taking so long between this. The last one was in early August. I was on vacation then, and it was hard to schedule it, and just been like a week or two after I moved to college, and that's obviously difficult transition. Getting into things first weeks and months of the year trying to keep up with work and stuff, and it's been a challenge. So I've had to put this on the back burner, unfortunately. But I've been missing this and wanting to do it, so I'm back. And we do, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. WNBA Finals ended a little over a week ago. The NBA started a little under a week ago, and just there's a lot of stuff going on in basketball. College basketball season's not too far away from starting, even though I'm going to do a separate episode diving more into that. But yeah, man. So we're gonna start talking about the 2021 WNBA Finals and Champion, my hometown Chicago Sky. And before I get into this, if you think about stop listening or whatever, you can. I won't like it because gives things a chance, but you can. But yeah, I feel so. I want to talk about this because it was very entertaining. I was back home for Chicago for games 3 and 4 of the finals against the Mercury. That were played at Wintrust, and it was just a great environment, man. And game 4 especially, it was sold out. Game 3 was almost, and the fans were lively, man. And I just kind of think that my issue with this in general is that if someone legitimately tries to watching women's sports and then chooses after that to they're not interested, I'm fine with that. But people that just base it off of seeing one low light reel on YouTube or stuff like that, or just not trying because they're not going to dunk every time, that kind of messes with me. Because I feel when people say that they're true basketball fans, I'm if you don't appreciate this at least to some level, are you really a true basketball fan, or are you just a true basketball fan for men? And I kind of think that is a question we have to ask. Do I like it as much as the NBA or other men's basketball? No, but I find it entertaining. And if there's other stuff not on, I'm gonna watch it. Anyways, that's my little bit of a rant about that. But I'm moving on to almost wanted to talk about just the finals run for the Sky and just kind of how great of a storyline it really was. So the Sky were there's 12 teams in the WNBA. If you don't know, there was the Sky were the 6th seed, and so they were a 500 team, 16-16. And, normally in most leagues, if you're finishing at that record and you're squeaking, you're not going to win a title. And I think there's great thing about the WNBA is that there's a potential to do that because the first 2 rounds are single elimination. And then the semifinals and finals are 5-game series. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very exciting environment and exciting league. And the run was exciting because Sky had a bunch of very fun people you want to root for. They have a very good balanced offense scoring attack led by Courtney Vandersloot, who is the greatest passer in the history of her sport. To me, she is the barrier between her and everyone else that at passing is basically what Steph is 3-point shooting. She's better than everyone, and it's clear. And it's fun to watch. She ironically went to the same schools all-time assist leader in the NBA, John Stockton at Gonzaga. Just entertaining. And then you bring in her wife, Allie Quigley, who both of them I have actually had on this podcast a little over a year ago. Actually, it was before they were going into the bubble season, and it was fun. And I'm definitely going to, after they win this, going to try to reach out to them again and see if I can get them on, because that was really great read. Quigley is a hometown kid from Joliet, Illinois, went to DePaul, one of the best shooters in the league. Incredible thing, and has such a pure, quick form, and just gets stuff off and has incredible range. Candace Parker, who is the most likely one for someone to know, a legend who came to Chicago for their first season after 13 years in the Sparks when she won a championship there. This is her hometown team, and her first year she brought them a championship. It's very similar to what LeBron did in Cleveland. I mean, it's a different level, but bringing a championship to your hometown, especially their first, is just a special thing. And you could see how much it meant to her in the post-game, pre-game, all of those things. It's been a great story. And also Kalia Copper, who was the finals MVP, who is a very athletic finisher around the rim. She has a lot of strength doing it. It's similar to I find her similar to me is like the D. If you take D Rose, but you take D Rose finishing strictly under the rim, it's still very entertaining. She has a lot of crafty angles and moves to get her that way, and just it was fun to watch. So now what I want to do second is I'm going to be playing the sound from some of the late thing. So the Sky in game 4 were down by 14 late in the third quarter, 11-0 for the fourth, and it looked like it was going to be rough. The Sky did come back though and came away. And this clip sounds weird. I just want to get a sense of how much it was popping in the arena. This happened with around 40 seconds left. Vandersloot hits a fadeaway to give this guy a 4-point lead and essentially put the game away. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the video itself. Otherwise, you can just hear the sound and just hear the crowd. But yeah, it's a very great clip. So yeah, overall it was a very exciting time, and like you see, the crowd got hyped. The second clip I'm gonna show is the last 10 seconds where Vandersloot, oh no, Griner misses the three, Candice Parker's the rebound, and celebration, and she runs to her family. Everyone else, goes out and hugs. It's just great moments thing. So that clip is here. So yeah, after that, I just want to say that WNBA was very entertaining basketball. The experience was fun, especially for Chicago. Should have been there and watched it, enjoyed it. And yeah, it was just a great time. So now we're gonna move into the NBA, which obviously the season started just a little under a week ago, or maybe over. And it's been great, bro. I don't know how to say bro, but it's been great. A lot of fun, man. It's just been entertaining basketball. Last few games, a lot of unexpected or surprising things. Maybe not fully, but just maybe how well something works. The Bulls have looked very good, albeit against, I know they have not played a very, really good team yet. But they are 3-0, and defensively, they look so much better. And offensively, like you see the bright lines, and you see things that that look like they're going to lead up to. They have the potential to be very, very good, which I'm excited about because as a Chicago sports fan, before the Sky, I haven't seen a good basketball team in over 4 years. And I mean, we just haven't had many. Our teams just haven't been good in general, really. But yeah, so it's been exciting. The Bulls, Lavine, Lonzo and Cruz are huge additions offensively, but defensively, they're insane. They pester the fuck out of everybody. They cause so much havoc. Even they get so many more deflections than anything. Like they don't just get steals; they have so many deflections that don't go or count for as steals. It's incredible, and they have so many highlight plays they're fun to watch. Lonzo has just been great throwing the thing. DeRozan's had some very nice moments, and especially shows he can be a secondary scoring punch among Lavine. Vucevic has not really started to get going yet, but I think he'll be fine. I mean, it's been a few games, and you'd want him to start hitting his shots, but I'm not too worried. I think his track record thing. And just even like Javonte Green has been great as an energizer bunny off the bench who can do a lot of different things. This team is fit together in a good way. Patrick Williams has been okay and hasn't needed to do much. And Kobe White's still not even come back yet. So as a Bulls fan, I'm really excited about this. It's been great right now. We're 3-0. We're with the Hornets as the 2 3-0 teams in the East. and it's just been great. Yeah, but another person I want to shout, or there's a few players I want to shout who are off to great starts individually, and then I'm going to talk about some teams that have looked very good and some teams that have looked less, not as good as you expect them to. But yeah, so John Morant has been amazing starting off season. After 3 games, I'm recording this on Monday. He's averaging 35 points, 40 runs, 8 assists, and he's shooting 58% from the field and 44% from three. These numbers obviously are not going to last, but it's just been incredible how well he's been able to do this high volume with efficiency. And you can tell he really has worked on that 3-point shot. It's still like much of a set shot, and it's kind of like in terms of like being able to shoot like over taller people, that kind of thing, but it looks so much more fluid. He showed much more confidence. He hit one very deep three against the Lakers that was just like Steph Curry range. Hit one from the corner, another guy's face. He ended up finishing with 41 in the past game against Lakers, 40, my bad. Finished with 40, could have had 41. He missed the last free throw, but his response after that was great. The guy is willing to fail and is okay with failing, and I think that's what's going to make him a really good player. We've obviously seen that his numbers last year were good, but they didn't look like all-star level, but I think he's going to take that job and become an all-star for the first time this year. He's so quick and explosive thing, and a lot of people are comparing. He is a lot like the 2011 D Rose, and it's been very fun to see. Steph Curry, even though his first and third games weren't great, overall, he's in terms of scoring and shooting, but he's averaging 31 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and the Warriors are winning. You can just tell, though, now that their bench depth is so much better. And while they definitely need Clay, their ability to now have an actual bench with Bielitsa, with Otto Porter, with Bielitsa, Porter, Damian Lee's playing better, Jordan Poole, those guys aren't asked to do as much as they were with Curry, where Curry had to do everything. Wiggins has had some nice moments. Draymond's finally looking like he's able to score again for the first time in a while, which was great. He was a big part of that win. And they're playing John out center. Like Looney is starting the games, but he's not playing much. They haven't really used any of the rookies really. Like Juan DeSantis, Moody hasn't really played. Kuminga's been hurt, but they look good, and I think it's good because seeing Steph Curry in the playoffs is just a fun thing to watch. And the last person I want to shout out is Zach Lavine on the Bulls. His numbers are basically the same as last year's, but last year obviously they didn't win a lot. And he's been efficient. He's averaged 27, 6, and 5. He's shooting over 50% field, 40% from three. He's at a 50-40-90 right now. I don't know if he can keep all that stuff up, but he's looking great. And he's also looking like he's much more willing to be a good defender. But I think just because he doesn't have to expend so much energy on offense like he did the years past, which I've always thought he had the potential to be a good defender because of his athleticism. And I think he has a very strong work ethic. And I think this year, because he doesn't have to do all the scoring, we'll get to see him do more other things and show his all-around defender and stuff. Some other things I want to talk about. The Lakers, obviously, they got their first win last night, but they have struggled and it hasn't looked great. Obviously, a lot of people will point to the fact, Russell Westbrook's a midseason player or late season player and everything. But and while I do agree with that, and there is shooting at times, this team still is not a perfect fit and far from it. Westbrook and Rondo should never be on the court together. There's no excuse. There's nothing in my mind you could say to convince it. Rondo and Westbrook are basically two different versions of the same person. Point guards who can't shoot Rondo has a very high basketball IQ. They're quick. They can rebound things. They can fill up shots, but they cannot be playing on the floor together, especially because they can't do much off ball. Rondo's got a little bit better as a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, but he's still not great. Westbrook, we obviously know, cannot shoot for shit, and finally made his first three, but again was inefficient. Only thing, it's just not a great fit, and I'm going to have to wonder if LeBron's going to continue making threes at that high of a rate, if AD is going to look more like the AD from 2020 or the one from last year, especially shooting. He still hasn't hit his free throws and everything like that. And their pieces, I know they have some guys injured right now, especially with Kendrick Nunn and Trevor Ariza and stuff. But it's not a perfect fit. And I still think there's other teams in the West that can challenge them. The Hornets have looked very good so far. I know it's early again, but Miles Bridges was just named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week after having a great game. He had 32 against the Nets yesterday. I mean, he's always had so much talent, and we've obviously seen last past year a ton of his incredible dunks, just posters, and he also just has gotten a lot better as a overall player. And I think LaMelo has looked very good also. So I think they are really starting to build a core in Charlotte. And then I think am I going to commit to them being a playoff team yet? No, because I just don't see, but it looks better. They have a direction, they have talent. And I mean, they were a play-in team last year that was with Hayward missing a lot of time, LaMelo missing a decent amount of time. So if they have everyone for a full season and also having Plumlee instead of Biyombo as their center will probably help. And they have talent. They have a lot of pieces that could really work well together. They're gonna be fun to watch it again, especially with LaMelo running this ship. Harden, the new free throw rule has been really affecting a number of different stars, including James Harden, Trae Young, Jimmy Butler a little bit. But the new free throw thing and free throw attempts are as down as they have been in a while. And while some players being, I love it because free throws are something. While they're important and they're necessary part of the game, if they don't need to be called if there's not actual fouls. And I think the officials are doing a lot better now, recognizing when people are jumping in that's not a foul. And it's been fun to watch. And yes, percentages and stuff are going down in some cases, while some teams are still scoring at will. But it's, they're allowing people to defend more now. And a lot of people's turn off with the NBA is that, there's not being enough defense play. And I think this can really help some of the old school fans get back into it. And while some people are overreacting on how good James Harden will be, he still will be a good scorer. I do think he's going to struggle for a bit to figure this out because he's a good scorer, but everything else, everyone likes to tell him James Harden's a great 3-point shooter. He's a good 3-point shooter who takes a lot, which is why he's there. And so yeah, I think he's gonna have to worry about that because at the rim he's not gonna get fouls as much as he wants. He has to stop trying to draw fouls on 3-point ones like that. Because you've also seen they've been calling some offensive fouls, they've been calling things. So James Harden's gonna have to adjust along with other people. Trae Young as well, although I think he will be fine due to the fact that he has that perfect floater game. I mean, and he also is just the Hawks mostly need, or just as his playmaking is just as pointed to them as scoring well with the Nets. I can't really say that without Kyrie because James Harden's going to be asked to score more. And he's going to have to try to get back to 25-26, assuming Kyrie doesn't come back this season. And yeah, speaking of defense, which we did for a little bit, Davion Mitchell has looked incredibly good on the defensive end, which was expected. He was great in college. He got the nickname Off Night, which is one of the coolest nicknames in the NBA. I think and if you don't know why, because when you guard you have an off night, and it's pretty true. And despite the fact that he is only 6 in the college, he was listed at 6'2", but now he's listed at only 6 feet 205. He's built so much like Donovan that it's insane that they're not related. But defensively, he just knows where to be. He uses his size perfectly well, and he's capable of guarding as much taller. In college, he was able to guard a 6'6" Cade Cunningham and really make him struggle with a guy with a 6-inch higher. And he really, against Lillard and Mike Conley, he really forced him to struggle too. So he had a little bit more difficult of a time with Steph Curry, even though Curry shot really poorly from 3, finished with 27 overall. But that's partially because Steph Curry just moves so much, it's almost impossible to guard, especially for a rookie. But he's looked very good. And the Kings overall look like they're getting better defensively. They still have a ways to go, I think, but Kings fans they had the 30th ranked defense last year. I do believe that they will not be the 30th this year, which is, I think, a good sign because they had a pretty good offense last year. So I think that's one of the games I watched, and I think that there's a good chance that thing. But yeah, and I've already talked about my Bulls a bit, but I am just very excited about how it's looking, man. We haven't had a good team in a while, and they're at least going to be fun to watch at the minimum, and I think they can be really good. Some other things that have stood out besides that is just overall the Nets the Nets being 1 and 2. I get that Kyrie's not there, but especially on opening night, it was a really big struggle against the Bucks, got demolished. And while KD individually has played well, and LaMarcus Aldridge had a good game in Philly, which was a big and good comeback that I do have to agree. But Blake Griffin still is Joe, I think I have, when people say that the Nets are still clearly a favorite without Kyrie, that's why I push back because I'm Are they one of the teams I would put in as my chance to win? For sure. But I think calling them immediately the favorite is just a little harsher. I mean, not a little stronger now. Yeah, teams that have looked not good. Pacers have not looked very good, and I mean, I don't think people expect them to be great, but they're still seem to be an average thing. I also live in Indiana right now for college, so a lot of people bringing them up and stuff. And besides Sabonis and Turner's 40-point game, which was big, there's still a lot of inconsistencies on that team. The Bucks have looked mostly good. I mean, there's been times where they've struggled, but that's more due to the fact that they've had a lot of injuries early on. Drew Holiday's only played in one game. They haven't had DiVincenzo yet. Portis has missed time. Lopez has missed time. It's Ojale. There's so many players that missed time for them, so I'm not too worried. The Knicks have looked pretty good overall. I mean, they did have that very big, great second-day win versus the Celtics, which was entertaining for sure. Yeah, and in the 2 overtime one where everyone Jalen Brown 46, but yeah, overall they have looked okay, not great, but Fournier is a huge addition for them, and he's played great so far, and I think he does give them another dimension that they didn't have last year. Also, letting Barrett go to small forward helps over Reggie Bullock. They just have a more talented starting lineup, and having Kemba Walker in there, even though he's not what he used to be, he's still a very good player who can give you very clutch moments of very good scoring, and his crossover is still deadly as hell. Celtics have not looked great, and I get that they've had a influx of things as well, but last time I was saying, when you have two players as good as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you're expected to, be one of the better seeds in the East, at least in theory. And I'm still not convinced that that's going to be the case. Think that they could get better. And I do think, I don't know much about Ime Udoka. Because it doesn't have a proven track record, but I would think Brad Stevens would hire a good guy, but yeah. The Sixers have also been an interesting one because, the Ben Simmons debacle. And based on the reports right now, I'm not saying it seems like Sixers are now stopping finding him for in-person, that they're doing that because they believe that he's legitimately doing this and has a plan to come back to the team. That's the only reason I believe they would do that. I don't think they would do that to try to – they wouldn't do that without that confirmation because you've seen how they've handled it. It's still crazy to think that he's not been traded, that there's a chance he might play with them again, especially after Embiid trying to, on the game at home, trying to say that he's our brother and stuff after 2 days after publicly saying he doesn't care, that he didn't care about him. It's a lot of drama and it's just a crazy situation. But I think we can see the Sixers are still a very good team, even without Ben Simmons. Seth Curry has played very, very well. His shooter, Embiid has done his thing, and just overall they've been able to manage stuff. But yeah, that's been a really thing. The Heat have only played 2 games so far. They looked okay. They didn't have Kyle Lowry in the last one, but their first game against the Bucks, they looked great. They're going to be an interesting team to watch because I think Kyle Lowry is going to push the pace more, and the Heat team is going to be a lot more dynamically. Hero has been looked great in his first 2 games. Even though they lost, he had 30 when they lost to Indiana. They just have a lot of pieces, and it really looks like it's going to. They're going to be able to defend at a high level. There's just a lot of things. And in the West, the Jazz, the NBA Power Rankings has the Jazz number 1. I'm not exactly sure why. I understand that they had the best record in the league last year, 2-0, but I feel like I haven't really seen something special. They're just doing their normal thing, and the regular season isn't what I question about them. It's the playoffs. Mitchell hasn't shot great in either of those games, and they have a very similar to the same team with just some minor changes in Jared Butler. Having Rudy Gay and all that stuff. So there's not many major changes there. I'm going to look back pull up the West standings again because but yeah, also the Timberwolves have looked good so far. I'm still not sold on them being a great team, but the big question is if those guys are all healthy, can they be good? And I think they could be a decent team if they honestly have everyone healthy. They have enough talent to do it when they're healthy. And while defense will be a struggle for them, they have so many dynamic scorers just in Russell, Fox, and Beasley alone. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it. Thanks. Actually, wait. Before I do that, no, I'm going to quickly talk about the top 75 list. 2 things. 2 players that need to be on there. I love Damian Lillard. He should not be on there. Dwight Howard needs to be on there. And Klay Thompson obviously publicly talked about how he needed to be on there. And I do agree with him because while his resume exactly in some ways doesn't stack up, he's been the second or third best player on 3 championship teams, one of the greatest shooters ever, great defender. So yeah, I think those two guys needed to be on the All 75th team. There's a lot of talk about that. So I'm not going to fully go into the each entry just because of the sake of time and also because a lot of people have done that. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed listening or watching, make sure to follow, subscribe, depending on what you're on platform you're on, and I'll make sure the next episode is up much sooner than the past one. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you. This is Jake Kaufman. I'll see you next time.